Bizarre Brain Comics. Oh, hello, my comic book friends. Oh, I forgot it. I forgot today's terror tome. Oh, and there it is. Yes. Hello, my comic book fiends. Oh, wake up, Mr. Bones. You're on. Mr. Bones. Mr. Bones, wake up. You're on. There you are. I knew I could wake him up. Hello, my fine comic book fiends. Oh, and I am the Dark Librarian. Ooh. Here for Bizarre Brain Comics. And it is my job to, with loving care, tell you tales of terror. Oh, it is always a pleasure. And now, with the aid of my good friend Mr. Bones, with ably assisted by Yorick down there, we are going to talk about this book here. Ooh, this is our terror tome for today. This is from Moonstone Books. Kolchak. Kolchak, the Night Strangler Files. Yes, this is Kolchak. Remember, if you're old enough, at least to remember the reruns of Kolchak, the Night Stalker, 1975 TV series, starring Darren McGavin. Yes, this is continues his adventures into the macabre and the weird and the downright unreasonable. So, let's go take a look. Won't go into too much detail because it's a big book. But we'll take a look at the doings of Karl Kolchak, the Night Stalker. Oh, yes. Kolchak, the Night Strangler Files. And for those of you who may not know, as I said, this is Moonstone Books from 2010. Kolchak, the Night Strangler Files. This is with the cover. This is a great cover. It's a great representation of Darren McGavin as Kolchak. It's covered by E.M. Gist. It's either Gist or Gist. With interior stories written by Christopher Mills and Jaime Martinez. And then we get the story. See, because it's called The Night Strangler Files, because, see, the second half of the book is a comic book adaptation of the classic TV movie of The Night Strangler, which was a sequel to the movie The Night Stalker, both of which gave rise to the TV series of Kolchak, the Night Stalker. See, and that story, The Night Strangler, is written by Richard Matheson. Yes, it's done directly from the script, worked from the script of that TV movie, which was written by Richard Matheson. And you might remember that name. I'll come back to that. And the art is done by Amin Amat and Stefano Martino. Okay, Now, Richard Matheson, if that name sounds familiar to you, you might be familiar with the I Am Legend. Oh, there have been 3 movie versions based on the novel by Richard Matheson. And he also was a regular contributor to the Twilight Zone, the classic original Twilight Zone. And he also wrote the book The Incredible Shrinking Man that movie was based on. And he wrote the script for the Dan Curtis version, TV movie version of Dracula, which starred Jack Palance. And by just sheer happenstance, happened to have watched that movie less than a week ago. And many, many other things. And of course, you go, Dan Curtis, who's Dan Curtis? Dan Curtis was the creator of Dark Shadows. And in the 70s, he directed a series of classic horror movies reinterpreted as in TV movies. The best known and probably the best one of the bunch was his version of Dracula, which was great. Now, The Night Stalker is an American live-action. It was created by Jeff Rice because The Night Stalker was based on a novel by Jeff Rice. It's an American live-action horror TV series on ABC Network from 74 to 75, starring Darren McGavin. The series was a result of two TV movies, The Night Stalker from 72 and The Night Strangler in 73. And the series had a total of 20 episodes and has a cult status today. Yes, it's in constant reruns on, I can't remember. Oh, H&I. Is it H? No. I think it's MeTV on cable. Mm-hmm. And it was a great influence. The Night Stalker series was a great influence on Chris Carter when he created the X-Files. But all this time before it got to comics. In comics, it was published by Moonstone Publishing, and they publish comics and graphic novels and pulp fiction. Pulp style prose and comic stories. And some of the other things that they publish is The Phantom, the ongoing Kolchak series, also The Spider, The Avenger, Doc Savage, and The Lone Ranger. Yee-haw! That's a little bit of the Trigger Kid coming out in me. So, I've babbled long enough. We'll take a look inside. I'm not going to go too deeply into anything. Now, as I said, this is great cover paintings, and all the covers for this book. What was reproduced in this book was painted by him. It's some great stuff. You can see. Come on. Oh, it's not going to show it. I think that page was pulled out. Kolchak. And this is Kolchak. Remember, he was a reporter. He was just a regular newspaper reporter doing who wound up getting sucked into all kinds of weird and bizarre stories. And the artist did a pretty good job with rendering, for the most part, not always, Darren McGavin's image for the interior. And as you can see here, this is primarily black and white with red. And most of the other stories are like that as well. Here's another cover painting. This was a different artist, I think. The Night Stalker Files. And see, with red, and some here later on that's just pure black and white. That's when he gets into the swamp. And okay, in this first story, it's he's working in Hollywood. Recently lost a job at paper there, and there's something going on with this movies being made of low budget horror movies with some what are supposed to be outstanding effects, special effects, proprietary special effects. But the funny thing is, some of the actresses from the movies keep disappearing, and Kolchak is looking into it when he's approached by a friend of one of the missing actresses, and it turns out it's some kind of gargoyle demon type creature who is working with this movie director to get him people to kill and suck their life from, or whatever. And Kolchak gets in trouble. The girl he's with gets killed. The monster is let loose, is running after him, smashes up a truck, and winds up being destroyed. And at the end, Kolchak gets a job offer from a tabloid paper out of Miami. Now, these are referring to the tabloids similar to the National Enquirer, the ones, the Bat Boy, all the UFOs and Bat Boy and all those kind of ones. Well, he gets that kind of job. Then he goes to on his way to Miami. He's driving cross country because he has very little money. Meanwhile, the next story begins, and this one covers several issues. Prison escapees out in the swamps of the Everglades, and they come upon something. What the heck? And so his first assignment is basically on the swamp ape. So he's going to try to hears about this stuff, and people are saying, well, maybe the swamp ape got him, because one of those escaped prisoners was found dead. The other one is still missing. So the U.S. Marshals are involved in that, in the manhunt, and Kolchak is working with that guy. Someone else comes up missing off of a road out in the swamps, and so they're out in the swamp looking for this guy. And then, of course, the title of the story is Swamp Things. And that's why we've got Man-Thing over here, because it's the Swamp Thing. And then we've got the Swamp Ape, and that's why we got Bigfoot over there. And so they're looking, and getting kind of friendly as they're examining. Okay, neither one of them actually believes the Swamp Ape exists, and so they don't know what the heck it is doing this, has killed these guys. Then finally the second escaped prisoner's body is found, and but that's when they're out in the swamps looking for it. That's when this swamp critter pops up and attacks them. Oh my gosh, it's a swamp critter. It's not a swamp ape. It looks like some kind of froggy thing, and it kills the marshal. And then it's after Kolchak, chasing Kolchak, but he is rescued by the swamp ape. The swamp ape is really out there. It doesn't like the swamp critter killing people, and it takes out the swamp critter, and then Kolchak survives. Then we go into this one is in full color of the adaptation of The Night Strangler. And it is one of the things I want to mention is that the writers have done a marvelous job at capturing the voice of Kolchak as portrayed in the TV series. It's similar kind of stories, but things that really couldn't have done very well for television because of budgetary constraints and the like. But I think it is a really good job. It's quite interesting, and it's a pleasure reading it because I loved Kolchak, and still occasionally watch some of the episodes. So that's what I have for you this time. Oh, and I also want to notice this is a library copy because I got it from the library. I don't own it, and I do want to remember, especially those who you're not just collectors, but you're comic book readers like me. And you can't always afford all the books. Sometimes you don't find them out there, the ones that you want, or whatever. Do patronize your local public library, because you can find. When I was a kid, you never would have found a comic book in the library, but nowadays they have whole sections on graphic novels for both adults and younger readers. And so. Patronize your public library to read comics. And I do hope you'll like this. I wonder if Dope has read any of these, or if he likes this stuff, because I know my buddy Dope is a big horror fan, and I'd like to see what he thinks of Kolchak. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. And also remember, comics are art. And in this case, this is some magnificent painting.